Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. So today we're going to be talking about why the first woman president of the United States of America could likely be a Republican. Now, the Democratic Party has pretty much brandished itself after nominating Hillary Clinton as their presidential nominee as the party of women, the party of minorities, and the party that represents all types of people. And as accepting as that may sound for someone who may want to run for president as a woman, the Republican Party is probably a bit ahead at talking about women candidates. Now, I understand that Hillary Clinton was the 2016 nominee, but she didn't win the election, and that was for a number of reasons. It was not just because she was a woman, but there is a such thing as a sexist voter, and it doesn't mean that they have to be automatically against women. They can also be against men, but it's really not as prominent as sexist voters that won't vote for a woman based off the fact that she's a woman. And that pretty much shows that the pretty much gap between the older type of voter and the newer type of voter. Obviously, the newer type of voter really didn't have much experience experiencing this type of discrimination. I know for a fact I didn't. And especially women that are a part of the younger generation, they don't really understand the type of struggle that older women went through and what they had to fight for growing up, and what they were excluded from, things that was different for them, which is why we see pretty much older women. They typically will be more prominent support of a woman candidate, regardless of a political party, compared to where younger women would be, because younger women, like we saw in the Democratic primary, some older women were upset. I believe we saw this in 2008 when Hillary Clinton ran for president for her first time. The VP nominee for Walter Mondale, Geraldine Ferraro, she got angry at her daughter on live television and pretty much snapped at her and said in so many words that she didn't really have the struggle, and she doesn't really understand that what women went through and why this is such a prominent thing for there to be a woman candidate or a woman president. And the Democratic Party has been pretty much on top of that, naming countless women: Elizabeth Warren, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, to name a few. But the Republican Party, as of right now, is probably in better standing at getting a woman president than the Democratic Party. Now, if Donald Trump will likely be the nominee in 2020, but we're looking past that. 2020 will probably be a year for Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden. I mean, almost all the frontrunners are either prominent men or maybe one woman, essentially Kamala Harris, and she's already starting to be brought down by the Bernie side and the establishment Republican Party, and it's really not looking so good for her primary chances. Although that California is really up there and taking place somewhere in March instead of somewhere like June, so it has more of a say in the beginning, it still may not push her over the finish line if she doesn't corral all those voters that got Hillary Clinton the nomination, and also grab a few Bernie Sanders type voters, because there are definitely a little bit more progressives with the more younger generation coming into the Democratic primary and voting for the first time in 2020. So the reason why I don't think there will be a woman candidate in 2020 is, well, a prominent woman candidate, is because I don't think the Democratic Party is going to make that type of move again. They did it in 2016. They tried to play every single card with the Hillary Clinton being the woman nominee, and it didn't work. I understand that she was scandal ridden, but that doesn't change the fact that she was their only woman candidate and the only losing woman candidate, and it's not a good thing. And I really think they're going to start hedging their bets, and they're going to go with people like Joe Biden, people like Bernie Sanders that they already know, and they're not going to take someone like Kamala Harris, who's a new senator from 2016, or Kirsten Gillibrand, which is succeeded Hillary Clinton in the New York Senate race. So, a number of these races, a number of these candidates that are women are really not at the top of the Democratic list. And when it comes to 2024, there aren't that many up there. If a Democrat wins in 2020, obviously that person will probably be the nominee yet again. But there's this one name that's constantly being mentioned in the mainstream media who's a Republican, and that's Governor Nikki Haley from the state of South Carolina, who's also the United States ambassador to the United Nations. Now, almost all of you know her, and if you don't, then you should start to research her, because I definitely think that she's going to run for president in the future. Now, whether it's 2024 or 2028, it'll definitely be within 2020 to 2030. To 2032, my bad, or maybe for something like a Senate race in South Carolina, which will lead up into a presidential bid. But I think she's going to run for president at some point in her lifetime, and I think it's going to be something that's going to be really easy for her to do so. She's extremely popular amongst conservatives. She could definitely gain a number of independent voters, especially since the fact that she's viewed as someone who can who represents the United States. It just brings out that patriotic feeling that a number of people have when they're voting for presidential candidates like Donald Trump. Make America great again, America first. A lot of these people aim for candidates that really bring out the patriotic part of them. They don't want someone who's labeled as someone who's a flag burner, who's anti-American, because that's not what, obviously, that votes against American interest. And I really think Nikki Haley could not only grasp onto a number of Trump voters, but gain over a number of Democratic and independent voters. And, I've been saying time and time again, 2024 will be probably a Democratic landslide, but it's contingent on a few factors. If a Democrat wins in 2020, and it's a man, then Nikki Haley will probably be the first female president, whether she runs in 2024, 2028. I have the 2024 electoral map. It will be the same thing in 2028 because of the census running 10 years. But Nikki Haley, she would run in 2024 or 2028. Wouldn't really make a difference, but I think she definitely would have a good standing on the electoral map. I don't see a number of key states changing. A lot of these are probably going to stay the same. But, what I do see is a more of a trend back towards the Republican Party. In 2020, I really think that Donald Trump is going to have a very tough election, but Nikki Haley could edge this one out. It'll be tough the same way 2020 will be, but I think a Democrat will have a much easier chance going against an unpopular incumbent than someone who's coming in fresh, not a part of the Republican establishment, coming in and representing both Trump voters, independent voters, and a number of Democratic voters. And I really think that her Marco Rubio-type policies, who she endorsed in 2016, could definitely help her when it comes to appealing to a number of voters. So, comes to 2024, we have 184 electoral votes for the Democrat, regardless of who it is, probably the incumbent president or just a candidate, and 165 for Governor Nikki Haley. She'd do extremely well in the South. The South is pretty much her homeland, and it's going to be something that she's going to do extremely well in. North Carolina, Florida, and Georgia are all targets of flips for the Democratic Party in 2024. But if Nikki Haley runs, these are all out of the ballpark for the Democrats. They're not going to win any of these states in 2024 if Nikki Haley is the nominee. She can appeal to them. She grabs a number of their voters. She brings out the conservative base, which got Mitt Romney, North Carolina, and Georgia in 2012, and got Donald Trump all three of these swing states, and four of them, if you include South Carolina, in 2016. Arizona, another conservative state that's been voting more Democratic because of the president. Once he's out, Nikki Haley would easily sweep that state and bring it back to the GOP column, regardless of how demographics end out. If conservatives vote in full force, Arizona and Texas no longer a possibility of going to the Democrats. If Republicans hold on to where they're voting now, the same way they did with Donald Trump, and the same way they've been doing in special elections, we could see a possibility of a flip just based off that. But since we're not probably going to see that with Nikki Haley, who's a popular Republican, she could definitely bring out a number of conservatives to come out and vote. So this puts her at 240 electoral votes. Well, where can she expand? She can win in Iowa. I think she'd do pretty well in Iowa. I also think she would do well in Ohio. And so my recording cut off. I apologize if the screen changed for a second, but just picking up from Ohio, this puts her at 263 electoral votes. 2024 has been highly mentioned by me and many other political pundits as a race that could easily be won by the Democrats. But Nikki Haley, being one of the most prominent frontrunners for the 2024 election for the Republican Party, I really see her as becoming the nominee and becoming president just based on the fact that she can appeal to a number of these voters. She's done extremely well as UN ambassador. She's not really hated by many people. She's following the president, but then again, she's tempering him, which could show her more as a moderate and not someone as radical as Donald Trump, and especially since Republicans are probably going to break away from the image of Donald Trump in 2020 or 2024, depending on which race we're talking about, or even midterm election year, 2018, 2022. We could definitely see a Republican turn away from the Trump side of the political party. But Nikki Haley has done an extremely good job at being a moderate and more temperate type of Republican, especially since she needs to stay nonpartisan. She's done very well at corralling the American people behind what she believes in, and that's really going to benefit her. And I think that a number of moves that she's making now is all strategic. I really think that she's doing everything to benefit her in her favor. I don't think any of this is just I'm doing my job as UN ambassador. I really think she's planning this out. But, maybe I'm just seeing things that aren't there, but I definitely see Nikki Haley, who's reforming her image as not someone who represents just like the Tea Party, the conservative part, but someone who represents all Americans, because that's exactly what she needs to do, and something that will definitely help her if she chooses to run for political office in the future, and possibly even become the voice or face of the Republican Party. So New Hampshire, I see that going to her as well. I mean, the Northeast is trending a little bit more Republican, but the Rust Belt is where I really think she'll do well. I think she'll be able to win a number of states in the Rust Belt, but over in here with the Democratic identity already, I don't necessarily see her winning Colorado or New Mexico. Nevada, possibly. Virginia, I still see going Democratic, but Minnesota, I could see going to the Democrats, but I think the Rust Belt does have a possibility of flipping in her favor. And the fact that she is a Republican and she could become the first woman president is something that will not be expected by a number of people, but it is very possible. She's a strong candidate. She's someone who can appeal to a number of voters, and it's going to be something that's going to be her greatest attribute when it comes to the 2024 election, or if she runs for something like the United States Senate or House of Representatives. Now, the reason why I'm just talking about Nikki Haley is because she's probably one of the very few prominent women in national politics as of right now. Kamala Harris is not she's not known nationwide. Neither is Gillibrand. Hillary Clinton is, but she's not going to run in 2020 or 2024. A number of these other people, someone like Heidi Heitkamp, people have wanted to run, but again, she doesn't have that name, and she really can't win. Claire McCaskill, that's probably not going to happen. A number of these people in the Democratic Party that are women, they're popular senators or they're known senators, but they're not known nationwide. Nikki Haley is a name we see almost every month in the mainstream media as someone that's been representing the United States, and in my opinion, she's been doing a pretty good job at it, but that's not factoring into this. I really think that she's a strong candidate. And I really think she does have a possibility of primarying Donald Trump when it comes to 2020, but I highly doubt she will, just based off the fact that he is the reason she is there today. So just to recap, I think that Nikki Haley will probably be the first woman president unless something drastic happens in 2020. But as of right now, I see 2020 for the Democratic Party. Their eyes are set on either Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden, and it's not going to sway from that for a while. And if they don't nominate a woman, they're not going to nominate one in 2024 because of the incumbent president, and Nikki Haley will probably take that spot for the GOP and probably win the general election. And, the women that are prominent now, they're not experienced, they're not well known in the Democratic Party or nationwide, and they're not going to be their strongest candidates. So as of right now, although it may seem like the Democratic Party would have the woman candidate as they did in 2016, it didn't work out the one and only time, and I highly doubt they're going to take the risk again when they have these known candidates that they can rely on and possibly even win an election with. So thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I'll see you all tomorrow.